right, I'm going to take a break from the bots for a little bit to gush about this guy. This is Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Ironworks. He is, I guess they're still calling them weaponizers, sort of like the ones that they had in Siege, like Six Gun and Cog and Brunt, where they would come apart and you could turn them into weapons for your other guys. And you can still do that with this guy, but in Earthrise, instead of just becoming weapons, they're actually having them turn into like little bases that you can connect to your bigger guys, like Omega Supreme or like the trailer, Optimus Prime's trailer. I don't have him yet, so I can't show that. But so I'm going to start off unusually in this guy's robot mode, so we can just get it out of the way and then talk about all the different things that you can do with his different like weaponizer bits. But yeah, he looks pretty great in his robot mode. It's kind of they pretty much just gave him a new design because his original G1 toy was actually a Micromaster base without a robot mode, and he came with a little Micromaster, and that guy was Ironworks. And I know that there's like a Iron Tread that came out in that 10-pack that was like a Target exclusive, but I didn't get it because it was a lot of money to spend on repaints of Micromasters. But yeah, he looks pretty good in his robot mode. He's got one arm that's kind of like a crane arm, at least if you want to do it that way. The instructions have it with like this gun on this shoulder and this sticking out of it like that. I don't think that looks particularly good. I think that they just couldn't really decide where to put that. So just to give it some balance, personally, I have this side of it on this one, and then this side of it over here sticking up like a little smokestack or something. And that's just how I choose to do it. Articulation-wise, he's pretty good. He's got his head is on a ball joint here. He gets pretty good range of movement. He does have a waist swivel, but it's not. He doesn't really get 360 degrees because it's not actually a proper swivel. He actually has like a hinge back here that it moves on, so he only really gets that far. But that's about as far as my waist can move, so that's good enough for me. Both of the arms are just pegged into the side here, so they get a rotational swivel from that. And then this one also has a hinge that comes up, and you can also hinge the shoulder piece if you want. If you want to like have this come over his shoulder, you could do that. And then this arm has a bicep swivel, about 90 degrees at the elbow. And then the hook piece is also just pegged on, so that gets rotation. This arm also can hinge outward like that and rotate around, obviously. Has also a bicep swivel. And then it actually has a double hinged elbow, so it can get pretty much the full bend there, which is nice. The legs are on these universal joints, so you can go up to the side about that much, rotate out. Can't rotate back too much just because it bounces into that panel. And then knees get a pretty deep movement there because when you transform him, the whole calf section goes entirely inside the knee. And then he does have ankle tilt, but it's just a little bit, but just enough. But he doesn't have those ones that like hinge crazy 90 degrees or anything, which it doesn't need, but just worth commenting. So yeah, he's a pretty posable guy. But as much as I love his robot mode, that is not where you really spend most of the time playing with this guy, because I just got him yesterday in the mail, and I've spent like probably a good number of hours just like reconfiguring his different modes. So I'm going to start off by showing you the base modes that the instructions kind of show you and what those look like. And then I'll show you a couple of my sort of like fan mode ones that I came up with that I'm pretty proud of. So first off, we're just going to divide him into all his different parts. So as you saw earlier, these parts come off to the side, these two weapon bits. Oh, and I guess I can show you that now because another thing that I like doing is if you take his hook hand off and just store it over here or wherever you want, you can give him kind of like a gun arm if you either peg these in all together like that, or what I like to do is actually put this one on top and gives him that gun arm, and I think that looks pretty cool. And then he still has his hook arm here on the other side. But yeah, Actually, you know what? Before we get out of robot mode, let me just show you size comparisons with his wave mates. So here he is with hoist and wheeljack and cliff jumper. So as you can see, he's pretty average size guy. A little bit taller than wheeljack, who's also a pretty average size guy. Obviously, towers over cliff jumper, and hoist towers over him because hoist is very large deluxe and cliff jumper is pretty small, almost like scout size. But just so you get a sense of what those guys look like. Okay, now actually on to transformation. So just gonna break him down into all of his little component parts here. Hook hand comes off, then this arm unpegs, and that's one section. Then this arm unpegs, then each leg unpegs, then this panel on the back comes off, and then this panel right here is pegged in. It's both pegged into it and has a peg coming in through it, so you kind of just have to wiggle the panel until it comes loose. And there are all of his components. So I'm going to start off with the one that they have in the instructions. So for this section, you just rotate his head around and then hinge it back and then flip out this little peg on the top of the chest here. And that's all ready to go. For both the legs, all you got to do is just flip in the calves into the main sections. What else do you have to do? I don't know if you have to do this, but I find it helps for clearance wise if you just flip the leg posts forward like this on that part. Then for this section, you actually are going to plug it into the chest. So you rotate it around like that and then take the hook and put it back on. And while we're here, might as well just attach this. Oop. Yeah, that peg doesn't stay out super easily. Like it doesn't quite come to the full 90 out unless you like push it a little bit further. So it makes it kind of easy to go back in. And then you also take this section here and plug this into the side. Make sure it's perpendicular. And then this section here you plug into the bottom. I think the instructions have it like this. I don't think it really matters. So that's good to go for now. Then this arm you fold in half so it becomes that square, and you flip that peg up so they're in line there. And then you take both of the leg sections, and each of these pegs will peg into the knee, kind of connecting those together. Then this panel you can just plug on here with the new panel system that they have. Omega Supreme has it, Hoist has it on the back of his thing, Optimus Prime's trailer has it, and I think that's it for right now, and him obviously. We're going to be getting a lot of new stuff in Earthrise that has that, and then the last panel here we just peg on right here. And then this peg here is going to go into the hole in the arm here, and then to also keep the arm from unfolding, the little tiny peg in here is going to go to the little tiny hole here in the arm. And there you have him in his first base mode. Let me just adjust the camera a little bit. And it's pretty cool. Obviously on its own, it's just like a little crane station that you can take Micromasters like Big Daddy and Trip up and have them come up the ramps. But the real fun of it is like having him attached to like other panels that come off of Omega Supreme or Sound Barrier. That's the other one who has it. Oh, I could go get him. One sec. All right, like just to show this off, you can take these sections and peg them on, and then you can have this panel go and attach to Omega Supreme. There's really lots of different ways you could do it, but yeah, that's his one crane base mode. Pretty cool. Now going to the other ones that they show you. Actually, the next one the other one that they have in instructions actually doesn't use all of the pieces. It just uses the 4 sort of panel pieces. So we'll put the rest of those guys off to the side. And then the panels on the legs here just actually fold out, and you can like unhook them from it, but these are pretty thin pegs and they don't really connect to anything else. Like I think you could maybe connect them to these bits if you had the clearance, but I think it's probably a bad idea to disconnect those often, so I'm just gonna leave them on, but just to show you that that's there. So yeah, you just take those and unfold them. Sorry about the motorcycle in the background. And then attach these here, attach this panel here. And basically they're just having you build a little bridge, sort of, which is fine. It kind of sags down in the middle a little bit on its own, but you could have one of your guys come in and completely ruin the gravity of it. But it's okay as long as if you like hook it up to other bases or something, it could be a nice part. But and then in the product images, they do have a third base mode that they don't actually show you in the instructions, but you can just build that. So if you flip the panels all the way up like this, then take this section, and which way does this go? I think it goes like this, yeah. Peg it on there to that one, and this one, and then fold it up like that. Then you take this section here. This actually has a big sort of scoop that you can pull out and, you know, use that for your configurations too. In this one, it actually goes upside down, so the two pegs here plug into the bottom of the feet. Then take this panel with the leg pieces on it, and then you plug it to the bottom here. And I think that they have you, for this one, take the crane arm and put it down here. I don't do this one exactly how it's how they have it in the instructions, but I know that they put this up here, and that particular peg hole is actually pretty tight. And you know, I'm not sure what they have you do with the guns. Maybe just plug them on down here. But anyway, that's one of the other base modes, which is kind of reminiscent of Ironworks' other G1 base mode. Here, I can pull it back a little bit so you can see the height there. I personally do this one a little bit differently. I usually like to have this top section plugged on in the back here, and then just fold it in the back to fill in that gap. And do something like that. But, you know, whatever. The fun of this guy is that you can configure him in all different ways. And then, all right, almost to the fan ones. I'm going to show you the last one that they show you in the instructions, which is basically like an armored up mode. So just getting him into his parts here. They have him with wheel jacks, so I'll bring him in. You take each of the foot sections, basically plug them into the bottom of Wheeljack's feet, and then fold these panels up. And then, here, I'm gonna just zoom out a little bit. And then they have you attach the crane section on his arm here. And then on the back, they have you take this section. How do they do this? I think they just plug it in sideways like this, then fold it up so you can then take the crane arm and put it over his shoulder. Sorry, I don't have a ton of depth here on my desk, which is why I usually do just the smaller guys. And then, just kind of for lack of a better option, I think they just plug these panels together and just sort of stick it into the side of his arm, which is whatever. And you can give him this as a gun, and I'm fairly certain that's how they have the armored up mode. But kind of cool. It's like big industrial mode. I might show you an armored mode that I did with Hoist at one point if the video is not getting too long, but I want to show you a couple of the other configurations I've got first. All right, starting off with the one I really like. I take this panel in the middle and attach it to the leg sections. Which way do I have it? Oh, also fold out the legs. Okay, so do it so the clip is pointed towards the bottom of the feet, and then plug it onto the sides here, and do that on both sides. And then that allows you to kind of just like fold it up into this block, and then I put these sections up like this. Then for this section, just put it back into its body configuration, and then plug this back in to where it was in robot mode as well. And then I just flip these around to make it look a little bit prettier. And then these two pegs plug into the I guess the shins here, the knees. And then I take this section, fold it back up into its little square configuration, and then put the two pegs like that, and those will just peg into the bottom of the feet. Then the crane arm, just take this peg and plug it into the bottom here. This can be kind of tricky because, again, that particular port is really tight. And then I just fold the shoulder pad up to be a little bit more flush. And then I just take the two sections of the gun here and plug them each into the the leg sections. And then flip down this peg, and that just makes like a big sort of a crane section that if you plug it into a base, you can do that. And you know, maybe I'll grab something to plug it into so I don't just have to hold it up. So here is Astrotrain's sort of block, just to show how it looks when it's piped into something. And then that peg also allows it to rotate around. And this little section here, you can have one of your MicroMaster guys chill on top of, and then he can kind of pilot the crane arm. I think that's pretty cool. So that's personally my favorite mode to put it in. And then the one other one that I had, which I think is going to be our last one because this video is getting a little lengthy, is, let's see if I can remember how to do this. So unplug all these. I believe these stay together, but these are folded in. Then I had this panel attached. Was it that panel or was the other one? No, it can't be the other one. Do I remember how to do this? Okay, fold the scoop up like this. You plug it into the arm here. Oh, you know what it was? This was around the other way. And then the arm section, nope. Oh, yes, yes. Gosh, I just did this. All right, wait. I need to figure this out for myself for a sec. So, one moment. All right, sorry about that. Figured it out. So you do have these ones connected like this, now with the clip pointed towards the knees rather than the feet, so backwards from how it was before. Then you sit it up like this, and then attach this panel here to the knees. Take this arm, plug it into the port on this one. Take this gun, plug it in, throwing stuff, over here. And take the smaller one and then plug that in sideways, sort of like that. Then take the big scoop section and plug it into the shoulder piece here. Then this one, you just plug into the back over here. And then this you can do really whatever you want with. I guess plug it in down here just to get out of the way. Well, maybe not there. Maybe like that. And there you have it. So this one only really works when you have it attached to another base. Like if you attach this panel to the side leg panel of Omega Supreme, otherwise it won't really be able to stand up. But when it's plugged in like that, it's like nice and stabilized. The reason I like this one is because it actually uses this scoop as a scoop rather than like all of the other modes that they have it as. And then you can just like make it do sort of digging actions. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line with this guy is like really just experiment and try stuff out. Things peg together and like I find that this one's generally a lot happier in terms of like where the different sections can peg together as composed to some of the weaponizers. Because some of those ones I would be trying to make things and it would just be really sort of frustrating. Because things weren't really lining up like I wanted them to. Whereas like this one, even just being able to get these leg chunks into this block, which isn't like designed for any of the modes, and then actually peg two pieces into it, like I was really satisfied when I found that worked, and in multiple different ways with multiple different pieces. So yeah, I'd say this is definitely a great figure, a lot of fun to play around with. I don't know why I'm taking him apart right now. I guess I'll end the video with getting him back in robot mode. But yeah, definitely would recommend. It's just one of those great figures that's a lot of fun because there's just like a lot of sort of play pattern with it. And that's really what's been great about Siege and Earthrise is that they have enough different like things that the gimmicks aren't too obtrusive to the quality of the figures. And they work really well in terms of getting everything actually playable and enjoyable. So yeah, there we have Earthrise Ironworks. Almost back in robot mode. There he is. Great figure. Would recommend.